first one is going to be static progressions. So this is generally how people view the progressions that you'll go through for affiliate programming, for CrossFit programming. So it could be that you are following a back squat cycle, and then in that back squat cycle, you have 3 sessions which are building up to a tough 8. Okay, so that's what we have here. We've got 4 sets of 8, 4 sets of 6 to 8. So they're starting to flirt with those heavier weights that potentially they can hit on the tough 8, and then they go for a tough 8 on the 3rd week. Okay, so that's one version of it. Another version could be you're doing a 12-minute EMOM, and on odd minutes you're doing handstand push-up progressions, and then on the even minutes you're going through another movement. Okay, and this could be a part of a conditioning piece. So we've got 12-minute EMOM, handstand push-up progression, double unders. In the following week, we're increasing the time. So we're increasing the total volume of the handstand push-ups by 2 rounds. And then we're now using box jump overs on the other minute. So it's a, bit of a plyometric exercise similar to the double unders. And then for the 16-minute EMOM, we are increasing, again, the handstand push-ups, but we've changed up that other minute for a row. And then what we're looking at here is just, all right, your typical progressions. Do a little bit heavier, do a little bit longer, do more volume, that type of stuff. And that's what we're trying to get from our static progressions. And these are usually going to be the main focus for a cycle. So it could be, hey, in this cycle, we are going to be focusing a back squat progression that's going to be building up to a tough set of 8 or something like that. You can use this for strength and you can use it for conditioning pieces. And I would recommend trying to pick maybe 1 or 2 of each. So 1 or 2 static progressions for strength, 1 or 2 static progressions for your conditioning. And then that way you can look to thread those in on a weekly basis or on a bi-weekly basis, which I'll sort of cover in a minute. Then you have varied progressions. Now for the varied progressions, this is going to be more, let me see if I can move this. Cool. So this is going to be more of sort of just general, okay, we are going to be working through this time domain or this, the movement patterns, and you're a little bit more loose with what you're doing. So for this example, we have an upper body pulling and an upper body pushing superset. And for the first week, you're doing a strict pull-up progression or a strict pull-up, then you go dumbbell bench. Then you have dumbbell rows into strict dips. And then you have barbell rows into ring push-ups. And what I would recommend is doing, if you are going to follow something similar to this, is pair up a gymnastics movement with a just regular weight training movement. Because if you've got 2 gymnastics movements paired up, you've got 2 sets of like long potential progressions that you might need to sort of be relaying to your classes. So try to pair those harder, more technical movements with those simpler movements. Way it could work with conditioning would be like we're doing long AMRAPs on a certain day, and it's going to be a triplet of, sort of 3 conditioning based movements. Every movement's going to be taking you around 40 seconds to 60 seconds. So it's a fairly high turnover workout. And then here we have just sort of some typical combinations that you may see. And this can work quite well. And I would recommend that you, again, choose about 1 or 2 strength progressions that are varied and 1 or 2 conditioning progressions which are varied. And again, you can start to give these across as like the cycle focus, but these can be more sort of like secondary focuses for the cycle, which, and I would recommend as well with the varied progressions is you can actually stretch those out for a bit longer. So with a static progression, you're most likely, okay, you're going to sort of burn people out after a while. They're going to get bored or they're just going to stop improving. But with a varied progression, you can actually stretch those out and you can be like, okay, we're going to be doing this for 12 weeks. And then what you can do is you can sort of figure out those types of things that are going to be more broad and quite good for them to sort of just keep in. Accessory work is usually a good thing to implement this type of stuff on.